Hey y'all, it's Katie. Welcome back to From My Vanity and welcome to a fails video. I was sitting down to put this video together and I was looking through my Shop My Stash and I was like, I feel like I didn't have that crazy of fails this month, but I came up with 10 products still, so there's that. These products aren't all brand new to me. I did reach a lot back into my collection just to grab things and just get some use out of stuff that I've already reviewed. So some of the products that I'm featuring are products that I've already reviewed or featured in some capacity on my channel, but I still wanted to include them because it just shows you what was a fail from this month, and maybe I was trying to see if I could make it work once again, and I'm just admitting at this point, no, it's still a pretty big fail in my collection. I still really don't like this product, so I still figured it would be worthwhile to mention it in my favorites and fails, even if it wasn't a brand new product I was testing for the month. Let's just jump right into it and talk about the 10 products that were the biggest fails for me this past month. Okay, so first off, per usual, I like to work from the least bad all the way up to the most bad. Now, I do want to throw out there that there weren't too many products that were extremely fails, like they were so bad that I hated them. There were probably maybe 3 that are on that level. A lot of them I feel like were just like either not meant for me, not meant for my preferences or my skin tone, or I just don't care for them. So let's start out with number 10. As I said, we'll work to the worst from the month. This is going to be the Butter London Blurring, Finishing, and Setting Powder. I got the Porcelain Light. They did send this to me. It's not that this is a bad product. It's just not meant for me. Now, you have to be someone who likes a very glowy look. The first time I used this, I didn't think about it for starters, and I just was like, oh, blurring finishing powder, and I just started putting it on, kind of buffing it into, I was going very light that day, so I just put some concealer, and then I was just going to set all the concealer and just set my face and provide some blurring effects. So I reached for this, and I started going at it, and when I went over my nose looked like the Tin Man. Like, it was shiny. It was shiny. I was just like, oh my goodness gracious. So this is definitely a very luminescent powder, which isn't a bad thing if you like that. So the next time I use it, I did have to take my makeup off that day because I didn't want any Tin Man nose. But the next time I used it, I made sure to just lightly set mainly my cheeks and my forehead. I stayed away from my nose. Let me see if you guys can even see. Yeah, it's basically like a loose highlighter. Can you see that luminescence? I went in with a much bigger brush so I didn't pick up as much, and I just very gently dabbed and buffed very gently over mainly my cheeks and my forehead, and I left my nose area. I did my chin too, and I really like that over, you know, going ham as I did the first time. So that would definitely be my recommendation. But even still, it's a nice powder. I just don't like to be that shiny. Like, I think it looks pretty initially when I put it on. Let me try to do a nice swatch so you guys can see. When I put it on initially, I think it's pretty and it definitely looks nice on camera. There was one day I did a video, I forget which one it was, but I put it on half my face and then I filmed a video. I did more of a normal setting powder for me on the other half, and it definitely catches the light nice. It looks nice, but in person, I just don't like it because by the end of the night, I just felt like I looked very greasy and oily. That's the better word. I just looked like I was very oily, and for me, maybe it's because I've grown up with such oily skin, it's like I don't want to be oily, so it's just, like I said, it's not meant for me. And Amy Loves Makeup just recently mentioned that she likes to set her under eye powder with a little bit of, I think it was a highlighter or like some kind of loose, very luminous powder, and I was like, oh, you should try the Butter London one because it is luminous. So yeah, if you like the luminescence, I think you would like this, but for me and my preferences, I don't like it. Just talking about it as a finishing blurring powder, I think it does a very nice job. It definitely made my face feel nice. It felt very set, very refreshed, very blurred. It just looked very, not shiny, that'd be the wrong word, but it just looked very glowing, which isn't something I go for. So that's why for me personally it was a fail, but I feel like it's just because of my preferences, as I already said. Next up is what I have on my eyes, the lid area. It is the Balms Lid Quid eyeshadow. This is in the shade Champagne. Again, it's towards the top, or like bottom. It's not at the top, so it's not the biggest fail. But I just didn't find this that revolutionary, I guess is the biggest reason of why I decided to put it in the fail section of my monthly reviews. It's okay. Like I said, I have it on my lids today, but it's definitely like a cream shadow. It is not anything like the Stila Glitter and Glows because it doesn't give that. But something that I struggle with is because of the formula and the way it is, it doesn't want to apply smoothly, so you have to be very careful. And then if you apply too much, it definitely flakes off and just gets everywhere. But even today, I went in so light-handedly. I was very careful to make sure I applied a smooth layer, I applied a very even layer, I applied a very light layer. And I made sure I let my eyes fully dry before I opened them. But still, like, I've only been wearing this on my eyelid for probably the last hour and a half, maybe 2 hours. And it's already cracking so badly on my lid. And just kind of the shininess, the prettiness of this shadow is already fading. So that's kind of the biggest reason. I tried this to also cut my crease to see if maybe I could add something fun. Maybe that's a way I could use this. But it just falls right out of my crease because it is such a not really thick. It's not super thick, but it is more of a thicker consistency. If you put it into any area that opens and closes a lot, like your crease, it just kind of bunched up and fell right out. And I want to say halfway through the day, you couldn't even tell that I had put it in my crease. So it definitely doesn't work for that. And then on the eyes, as I said, it just breaks down very quickly for me. And it's just not my preference. I have so many other glitter toppers that I can put on that I really like that don't do that. And also too, I'm not that big of like a cream just shimmer. If I'm going to put a cream product on, I want it to be glitter because that's an easy way for me to put glitter on. And if it's just shiny, I'd rather just use a metallic shadow from like Juvia's Place or Give Me Glow, one of those type of really intense foils, because it gives me more of a bang than this does. So that's the reason why for me, I decided to put it in the fails. This is another product that I'm putting in the fails, but I think it's just because it's not made for me. And this is the Juno & Co. Miracle Cream. I've seen a lot of people raving about it, so I do really feel like it's just me personally with my skin tone and my preference. That's why it doesn't work, but I think I don't have dry enough skin for it. Whenever I use this, now I do want to throw out the disclaimer that I've been able to test this alongside the Good Molecules, which they are very similar, but this is a lot thinner. You're going to hear me rave about this in my favorites, spoiler alert, but this sets on my skin and also is just like pumping them out, or you know, feeling them side by side. It's much thinner and smoother, and it kind of sinks in better. This is just such a heavy cream. I feel like it sits on top of my skin, and whenever I put foundation on top, didn't matter what kind of foundation, like it's a heavy cream, didn't matter what kind of foundation, even lightweight foundations, it made the foundation very heavy feeling. It looked a lot heavier. It kind of went on more full coverage, and then it just had a really bad cracking like you would get with a full coverage foundation, that type of cracking and wearing. I get that really badly whenever I use this underneath my foundations. And I've tried this. I've been testing this for the last 2 months. I've done so many days half face. I've done so many days of using the same foundation with this, with my light SPF. This is just between those three, which if you're curious, my lightest weight type of moisturizer is this one from Paula's Choice, Youth Extend Daily Hydrating Fluid with SPF 50. I did that. I've done this and this. This is just at the bottom because it's just so heavy, and I didn't like how heavy it feels on my skin. But not only that, even when I didn't like put makeup on for the day and I put this on, I didn't like it because it was that type of sticky heaviness that it would like like my hair would stick to. So I don't like it for makeup. I do think I'm going to go ahead and put this over in my bathroom and maybe just use it as a night cream because, like I said, it is very thick, so I imagine it's extremely hydrating. I just don't like using it with my makeup in the mornings. It was just way too heavy and not what I like, so I do think I'm going to try and see if I like it better for a night cream and see if I can get the miracle aspect to, you know, really show itself, because using it in the morning, it's too heavy. That's why for me, this was a fail. Okay, this one I'm just gonna touch on quickly. This is an older product. This is the BareMinerals Matte Loose Powder. I used it a handful of times this past month, and I don't know if it's just because I'm on such a pressed powder kick, but I didn't like it that much. I actually struggled to get a very even application, and I used a couple different brushes to see if I could get a better application, but I don't know. It's just I felt like when I was applying it on top of a primer, I just felt like it was like darker here, lighter here. It just wasn't very smooth and even, and I kept going over areas using different brushes to really make it all look flawless. I don't know if I'm just so out of touch with like loose powders when it comes to powder foundations that I just forgotten how to use this properly, but I think I've used this twice this past month, and I didn't enjoy it either time, and I felt like there were definitely areas around my face that it was just like splotchy. So I figured I would mention it here and put it in the fails. Let me know what brush you use to apply your loose powder. For reference, I used both the Smashbox powder foundation brush, which I do like for very like more full coverage, and then I used the Real Techniques Instapop face brush, which I like for more light coverage when it comes to powders. And using both of these, like I said, I could get it to look fine, but I felt like it took a lot more work than it would with just a pressed foundation, and it still was a little splotchy in some areas. So maybe, like I said, I'm just out of whack and I didn't wait long enough with a primer or use the incorrect primer. I don't know, but I figured I would mention it here as one of the fails that I just I didn't have as good a time with it as I remember having it in the past. Okay, for the number 6 spot, I have the Dandelion Twinkle from Benefit. This is more in the middle because, while it's a fail for me, it's definitely a fail just because of my preferences. Once again, it's not the biggest fail out of here. It's nothing wrong with the quality of like the product itself. They made it to be this way, so I'm not faulting Benefit. But it's just not what I like. If you like the Essence Pure Nude highlighter, what was that one everyone raved about? I think it was from Essence. I didn't like it because it's definitely, like, if you like Hourglass highlighters, I feel like you would like this. Do I have room for a clean swatch? It just didn't really do anything. It's definitely, I would say if you're not on camera with the lights, it's probably a lot prettier and just more of that natural everyday. But for me personally, it was so natural that I just would skip. And I'm pretty sure I decluttered the Essence Pure Nude highlighter because of that, because it's just so light. And I do have oily skin, so keep that in mind, but it's such a light type of highlighter. I'll just go without. In 2 hours, I have that shine already. Does that make sense? If you like that very soft look, try this out, or just save some money and go get the Pure Essence one. I'll link the right one down below. I feel like I'm not naming the right one, so look in the description box. I'll link the correct one that I used to have that was a very natural highlight. I say just get that one, but if you're wanting to try a natural one from Benefit, you could give this a try. Okay, moving on. We're getting a little closer. I feel like everything here on out, it wasn't so much that the products just aren't made for me. It's just that I either don't see a point or I just really don't like the product and what it does for me. Anyway, this is the Too Faced All Nighter Primer. I feel like I need to try this again in the summer because right now with my skin type being very much a normal, like it's not too dry and it's not too oily, I did not see this do anything for my skin, and if it did anything, it made it worse, which was very odd because there was a couple times that I put this on and I always did half face in the beginning to try to see the difference, and I would get up close in the mirror and I was like, I really don't see anything, but if I really look, this side that I use this on looks worse. Like I felt like it really would cake up around my nose, and so I was like, well, maybe I'm not really massaging it out when I'm rubbing this in, or maybe I'm not waiting long enough after I rub this in. So I played around with some more and I definitely got it better, but still, if I did this on half my face and did absolutely nothing on the other half, just my typical moisturizer, there was barely any difference. And like I said, if there was any difference, this, while it still helped my foundation stay around my nose, it almost made it like gather up. Whereas on the side that I didn't prime, it just kind of disappeared. And I'd rather it just disappear than like gather up and look very splotchy and weird in my nose crevice. Does that make sense? I hope it does. So that's why I'm putting this in the fail. But like I said, maybe it's because my skin isn't oily enough for me to see the benefits of this. So I'm definitely going to hold on to it. And maybe in the summer, if I get my oily skin back, or maybe if I'm going to be out and about, out in the sun, potentially, who knows if the pools will ever be open again, but maybe then I'll give this another try. But right now, with my skin being very much just normal, like I've never experienced this before, like I feel like at the end of a long day, my skin can look a little shiny, but it's honestly not that bad. I just don't see this doing anything. So that's why I put it in my fails. Let me know if I'm using it wrong. I would really rub this into my face and I'd wait at least 5 minutes before putting on my foundation. And like I said, if it did anything, it didn't really do my skin any favors. For number 4, I have reviewed this in the past, but I have to mention it again because I was using it with the pastel palettes and the more vibrant, colorful palettes that I tried this month, so I pulled it back out and I've been using it. But it's the Makeup Revolution Cut Crease. I always do this. Makeup Revolution Cut Crease Canvas in Halo. I hear people using it a lot. I don't understand what I'm doing wrong because anytime I use this, I hate it. Like, it's not even just like, oh, I really don't like that. I don't like it at all. Like, it always looks bad. Maybe I'm always using too much. I've been trying to get a lot better at only using the tiniest dot, but this is just so pigmented. I feel like I have to work so much to really blend it out. It's just all gunked up. It's gunked up around the outer corner, and I don't even know how it did that. I don't like this product. And I even went and bought this is the Makeup Revolution Conceal and Correct Concealer in the shade C0 White. I bought this because I really like, and I always use the Conceal and Define Concealer. They're both the same. Like, I bought them and they're both the same. I don't know why this says Conceal and Correct. Anyway, I use this all the time in C6.5, and I really love it for my base when I'm not using my Gerard one. So I decided to try the white one to see if I would still like it, and I like this one better than the Cut Crease one. If you're looking at this, wanting to get it, I would say try this and just make sure you don't let it set too long to really fully dry and then, you know, not give you that tacky base. But yeah, I don't know what it is about this Cut Crease canvas that's now a mess because it's getting all around Like, can you even see that? It's skunked up so bad, and I'm always careful to put it in right, but I don't like it. Okay, next up, what are we on? A 3. For the third spot, now I have white concealer everywhere. This is the Juvia's Place Magic Concealer. This huge concealer that looks like it could be the size of a foundation. This concealer right here, I don't like. I have it on my eyes today, and they're creasing really, really bad. And the powder that I used underneath or on top of this to set this, I used a very little amount, and I've used it with all of my other concealers this month, and it does a beautiful job. It does not cause creasing. So I know the creasing today is from this guy, and I use such a little amount. It's something I've been exploring more with my full coverage concealers, is just using the tiniest amount and really working it in and using it to blend in, and not just like swiping it on with, you know, a swipe here, a swipe there, just a dot. And even trying that technique with this, it definitely, you know, does a lighter layer, which is nice, but it still creases. So it's kind of, at this point, it's like, I'm trying the best that I can to make sure you don't crease. You're still creasing. It's your fault. Let me know if you guys like this concealer, because I tested it out originally when I reviewed it, and I didn't like it, and then I tried it again this month, and I really don't like it. So if I can't find another purpose for it, I kind of just need to declutter it at this point, because I definitely don't like it under my eyes. Okay, 2 more products and we're done. This one I'm going to be very brief on it. This is the Vasili Cosmetics. This is their Magic Lash System. I'm missing the tweezers. I'm going to be brief on this because I've already done a full dedicated video that's already live, so I'll leave it linked up here. You guys can go watch that to really hear me explain. But I tried to make this work so hard. Like, you can, like I said, watch that video, and I really go in depth on all the different ways I tried to make this work. And I could never make it work, so it's just, the best application was the first one. And from then on, it just kept getting worse and worse and worse. So I feel like if you're wanting to buy this and use it one time, it'll be great. But after that, it's not gonna, I mean, even that first time, it wasn't the strongest bonder. Like, it didn't feel secure on my eyes. And the whole thought of this, I don't know, I kind of glazed over. It's supposed to be magic. It's not magnetic. It's not glue. It's magic that attaches it. And I don't understand still to this day, and I've looked at the ingredients, I don't understand what in it makes the lash attract to it. But anyway, this just didn't work. There was a nice thought to it. I wanted it to work because it would be nice to not have to use magnetics and not have those heavy magnets on my eyelid, and be nice not to have to use glue. But if you're wanting to constantly be sticking these back on your eyes because they're always popping up because it's not strong enough to adhere to the whatever is in here, I don't want to do that. So for me, these are a fail. And yeah. Also too, I didn't like the quality of the lashes. I think I mentioned in the video, but they're very shiny. And I don't want it to look shiny, because I feel like when the lashes look so shiny, it just looks obvious that they're fake. And I just feel like, I don't know how to say it, it just kind of looks a little cheap to me. So I don't know. Whenever I wore them in a video, I didn't like how shiny they were. So there's that too. Okay, for number 1, I hope I'm not missing any. This one, I mean, honestly, maybe the lashes could have been number 1, but I'm putting this number 1 because I'm so annoyed and I'm so fed up, and I've gone through this so many times before. It is the ColourPop Jelly Much Shadow. And another reason that I'm putting this at number 1 is because I'm so frustrated, because they're so beautiful, but these darn things dry up so fast. And people have told me, I know you can revive them, but that's not the point of this. That's not the reason I'm mad. This I bought last year. It was about a year at this point. So I realized it's been a while, Katie. You probably should have used it a lot sooner than this. I get that. It's my bad. But I never opened this, and I made sure, because I knew how quickly these dried up, I made sure that I never opened it until I was ready to use it, which I put it in my drawer to use this month. And I went to open it and use it one day, and it was completely dried up. And I never opened it, so it's not like it was my fault that it went dry. And on top of that, if you're just like, well, Katie, it was a year, it was old, it was your fault, you should have used it before a year. With it being ColourPop, I definitely should have. But these Butter London, these are called the Glazing Eyeglasses. They are the same thing. I have owned this for at least 3, probably 4 years. I'll put it on the screen because I have a review on my blog with using this exact same one. And you won't be able to see it, just looks all the same. But anyway, it is starting to go bad. I will say that. It's a lot thicker than it was originally. However, it still swatches and performs. And this is at least 3 years old, like I said. And I have opened this. I've used it so many times. I've opened it so many times. So it's been, you know, out in the air, getting air in it. I've, you know, had to go close it again so many times. So it's been out in the elements, and it's just now starting to get that thicker kind of feel to the jelly. This is so hard, I can't even, like, I can't swatch it. So that's why this is a fail, because I'm just so frustrated that ColourPop made such a beautiful formula, because these are gorgeous. Like, they're so pretty on the eyes, but they put it in such a, I don't even know, crappy, I don't know what it is, but they didn't put it in a secure container like Butter London did, or maybe the formula is just not as good as the Butter London and that's why it dries out. I don't know why it dries out, but it dries out within a year without me even opening it. Like, I didn't open it from, like, getting it from the brand. I never opened it. So it should be the most secure, the most sealed coming from the brand, and it still dried out. So when I saw that, I was like, ooh, okay. You get #1 for fail this month, ColourPop, because that's a big disappointment. Alright, so there you have it. Those are my fails from this past month. As I said, nothing crazy that was just like, oh my goodness, this is so bad. I hope it was enjoyable or informative, whatever the case may be. If you're the direct opposite, then I hope these reviews are helpful for you guys to know what you do want to look for. If you do like a very natural highlight, or if you do like a very luminous type of setting powder, I think you guys would enjoy that. They're just not meant for me at this time in my life. So anyway, yeah, if you guys found this video helpful, informative, or just enjoyable, entertaining, whatever the case may be, please give it a thumbs up. And if you want to stay tuned, I will be having my monthly favorites. I tend to put it up as the next video just so they're very close. So if you want to stick around, you can subscribe or just come back and check my channel tomorrow, and hopefully I'll have my favorites, because there were definitely a lot more products that stood out as being really great this past month than products that stood out as being really bad. So stick around for that. But yeah, thank you so much for taking the time out of your day to check out another one of my videos. I really do appreciate it. If you are on Instagram and you feel like following a new account, please check me out. I'm LadyKatie92. I try not to push it too much, but I kind of put a goal for myself that I'd really like to hit 10K so that I can have the swipe up feature. Like, that's the only reason I want to hit 10K on Instagram. If that wasn't it, like, I really wouldn't care. But I really like to hit 10K so I can use the swipe up feature. So if you want to follow me on Instagram, my handle is LadyKatie92. I do a lot of flat lays, and then I also share looks that I do in videos and stuff like that, and try to do tutorials. I've been trying to post every day, so check it out. And if you want to see my kids, I tend to always share them on my Instagram stories. So anyway, check me out, LadyKatie92, if you want to help me get to that 10K mark. We got a ways to go. But anyway, with all that said, thank you so very much for watching, and I will see you very soon in my next video. Bye, guys.